Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Wow, wow, wow. No.
Wow.
What was that?
I tried. I tried like a mix of woo and wow, wow, wow. I don't even know. It was confusing.
God, I nailed my Jakey impression when he was gone, and you would do something like that.
Yeah.
Oh no, what do I do?
Literally exactly Jakey's reaction.
Is that
He's
that's exactly what I sound like?
Wait, who said that?
Okay, I'm gonna leave now. But before I do, welcome into Banger Management, the Fantasy Hockey Podcast with Jake, Josh, and Kevin. Today, Week 17, buy low, sell high, the spiciest, most controversial episode of the week. Although last one, the waivers episode that dropped yesterday, was pretty intense with the Mathieu Olivier discussions. So maybe that'll be hard to top. It was pretty steamy.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because you throw that word around a lot. I remember in the offseason we were like, players
Jason
have personal
Robertson.
vendettas against Jason Robertson.
When I have vendettas against people, they always win. So you heard it here first.
So follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Daily Motion, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. And the Discord community, be sure to join that. The link to that is in the podcast description. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Very exciting stuff indeed. Let's get into our 2 weeks ago update for the buy lows.
Let's do it. So, our buy lows from 2 weeks ago, we had Dylan Larkin. Since then, 7 games played, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points, point per game. Dylan Larkin. I said it when I recommended this 2 weeks ago. It was just one of those slumps everyone goes through for the most part. Even the best players have them. McDavid hasn't had a point in 2 games, and I'm losing my mind. But no, this was a very clear he was going to immediately bounce back, and I think the window is pretty much closed on that one. We then had Morgan Geekie. Since then, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. He's actually lighting it up this week. I'll let you guys guess who he's playing against. This one, I think the window's still open for the buy low because it's 4 points in 6 games is not nothing necessarily anything to write home about, but it's looking like he's turning it around, and also Boston's just been on a really hot tear right now, so he's definitely benefiting from that. And then lastly, we had Jake Ottinger. This is a great one. Since then, 5 games played, 3 wins, 2.04 goals against average, .915 save percentage. If anyone bought low on Ottinger, you are laughing right now.
Yeah, you're coasting. Like DeSmith was outplaying him like crazy at the time that we recommended him. So I really hope you bought on Ottinger when you had the chance.
Yeah, no, these were all another classic win for the Banger Management and buy lows. Like we're too good at these. This is like I say this every time. I'm like, waivers were 28-14, which is still really good. Here, I feel like we're like 95%. Like I feel like we're like just nonstop sniping these buy low, sell highs. It's no wonder no one wants to trade with us in our league. So.
I know.
Can't blame them. So all right, next we have our sell highs from 2 weeks ago. We had Lane Hudson. Since then, 7 games played, 1 goal, 7 assists, 8 points. So you're probably like, oh, he's over a point per game since he's had to sell high. You're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, yes, that's true. But at the same time, he was doing like 1.5 points per game at the time. Now he's only slightly over a point per game. Look, you could still sell high on that. He's not going to finish over a point per game rest of the season. That just doesn't happen. I mean, he could finish at like point per game, but like we were talking about like 2 weeks ago.
He was at 1.4 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he was at 1.4. That's not a thing. Yeah, that's not a thing that happens for defensemen, any defenseman. So like I was comparing it to Makar, who was the best point per game defenseman last year, and it was way higher than that. So yes, he is still a sell high. I still believe in that, and I still love him because he's on the Habs and he's great.
Makar was a 1.15, just like last year 1.15, and that's the elite of the elite. Like defensemen don't go over 1.2. That's not really a thing.
That's it.
So,
I love looking at that as like a kind of metric. You go like same with how we always do that with power play points, right? We'll look at like what did McDavid and McKinnon do last year for power play points? Like what did the top player in the league last year do for that category? Is this something that can happen? And then you're like, okay, the top player did, like in this case, 1.15 from Makar, and he's doing 1.4. Do I believe that Hudson is going to have a 0.25 points per game better season than Cale Makar last year? If you believe that, then go ahead and, don't believe in the sell high. But at least you're doing it with like, an educated, like, I think he's better than the best defenseman from last year. So that's why I like looking at that. Then we had Kiefer Sherwood. Since then, 1 game played, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points, got injured, got traded. very eventful 2 weeks for Kiefer
Yeah.
Sherwood, I'd say. Not a lot of hockey played, but a lot of stuff going on. So, look, I don't know. I think you could probably still sell high off the trade hype and the fact that he's
Maybe.
coming back soon. I don't think the window's closed. We talked about this when we were doing the news about the trade. Definitely not as high as he was 2 weeks ago when we recommended trading him because he was killing it. So hopefully people were able to sell then. I still think you could potentially do it, but probably not for as high of a target. And lastly, we have Brock Nelson. Since then, 6 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. Like 5 points in 6 games is nothing, not too shabby. But what was he doing, Jakey, when 2 weeks ago when we recommended him?
Yeah, so right now, let's say his last 2-week average, he's at 0.83 points per game. At the time that we recommended him, the previous 2 weeks, it was at 1.71.
Yeah, so I'd say that's a pretty big dip.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so I hope people were able to
Like,
sell when he was
absolutely.
just insane.
Yeah, his points
Um,
have halved. So you're not unhappy with this. That's what we said. It's like, hey, you'll be happy with this guy on your team. But no, that was a ridiculous pace, and I really hope you sold. The guy, Larkin was one of my targets. That would have been a great flip. I think that the
Yeah.
sell high window has closed. But like we said, you're not. If you're left holding the bag, there could be worse bags to hold.
Yeah.
But this, there's no. Yeah, that was a crazy stretch.
Yeah. It's tough because, like, he's still doing decent, right? So you could still sell him. It's just you can't sell him as high as you could have 2 weeks ago. So I wouldn't say the window's
For
fully
sure.
closed, but, like, the targets we were talking about last time, I think you probably have to aim a bit lower. But let's
Definitely.
get into this week's buy lows. I'll get us started. This is a guy who we don't usually recommend. He was a sell high, another one of those Cinderella yo-yos, I guess we're calling it at this point.
No, this is
You're
a
calling it
reverse
that.
Cinderella.
That's what I'm calling it because it was okay. This is just a reverse Cinderella. It's not the yo-yo.
Yeah,
like,
because sell high to
it's not a
buy
Sanderson.
low.
Yeah, so the reverse. Yes, reverse Cinderella story, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars. In the last month, he's averaging 0.45 points per game and 0.09 power play points, and he missed 2 games for personal reasons. Dallas as a whole have lost 11 of their last 14 games, and their power play has been very slow, scoring only 5 out of 22 in their last 10 games. Now, quick caveat on all that stuff I just said. I wrote that before last night's game where they got 2 power play goals. So the numbers might be a little different, but that's just the come up starting, like
Yeah.
it's still, you can still buy low, but like it's starting. So just shows that I was right, but we need to record this a bit earlier. But despite this slump, Dallas still has the number 2 power play in the entire league this year. And Heiskanen is a lock for that top spot. I know people thought Harley may have a shot this year, but it's Heiskanen's for the rest of the year. And with only 0.09 power play points last month versus his season average of 0.31, he has a lot of room to bounce back points-wise. He doesn't offer much in terms of periffs, so owners may be happy to get him off their teams. All these guys who don't offer much in terms of backhats, when they're going through a stretch of not points, that's almost straight zeros they're getting. So owners are all like, when you have a guy who's like this, I mean, I feel like I keep mentioning this, but when we had the debate with the Philip Forsberg buy low, right? One of the, like Kevin's point was like, oh, he's still putting up sick backhats. So like the owner's not desperate to get him off their team, even though the points will, regress positively. When it's one of these types of guys, the owner is like, unless they really believe in them bouncing back, they're like, I got to get this guy off my team. He's doing absolutely nothing. So that's where we come in and we try and pounce. So here's some targets. I think I have a bit of a range here, so you can tell me if you think these are reasonable or if you think I aimed too low and that no one would actually do these trades. So I had Shea Theodore. He's been really hot lately. Brock Faber as well. Vince Dunn, John Carlson, Jackson Lacombe. I know I would take Heiskanen over these guys. My main question is, do you think that anyone would actually trade Heiskanen for any of these guys?
I think 1 for 1. I don't
Could-
think any of these get it done. I think you need a little bit of a plus. I think Heiskanen's like body of work this season is too high, and his name is too valuable. Even if his name is always like fake valuable. It's more valuable than what his actual production is. But this year he has the production earlier in the season to back it up. But I think in a package you could definitely make these things happen. Like Shea Theodore was almost my sell high because he's at like 0.75 points per game over like the last few weeks, and I do not think that stays even close. He has not going to sniff
No.
power play 1, so like he's a get it off your roster type of player. But I think Vince Dunn, I think Jackson Lacombe, they also hold some name value too. John Carlson as well, that in a package in a 2 for 2, you make it like a deal there. I think those could happen for sure. Even Brock Faber, his backcats are pretty nuts. He just doesn't have
That's
the
it,
points
like-
exposure, so if somebody needs
But all these guys over the
that-
past month have really solid points per game.
Yep.
Like, that's kind of how I like pick them. But it is tough with like the Theodore and Faber and Carlson. Like if they don't have power play 1, it's hard to convince someone to trade a power play 1 guy for
Yep.
a non-power play 1 guy. But with how they've been performing, I thought that it can get your foot in the door.
I think you can trade a Sergachev for Heiskanen, and I might like to do that.
I was looking at that. I just wasn't sure if that was feasible because I didn't feel like Sergachev's been that hot lately.
Yeah, but he has more quote unquote pull than these other guys, I think. So you could probably get that done. Let me ask you: would you trade Dougie Hamilton for Heiskanen?
Dougie Hamilton has been so good. Finally. I held him all year like an insane person, and he is 7 straight games with a point. He is an apple orchard, just dishing left and right.
Time to catch it.
And,
cash in.
I mean, I probably should be shooting out offers.
Yeah,
I
you
just don't think
should.
I feel like nobody's buying it. So, and also no one likes trading with me anymore after my frenzy at the start of the season. But
Yep.
and also I've been a bit checked out, honestly, because it has not been going well for me the past couple of weeks. So but no, if I do get back into the trading, I would take Heiskanen over Dougie for sure.
I think that's a trade that you can probably make happen, like because of how hot his points have been in the last like 7 games. I think it's going back to plus the Luke Hughes injury helps him a lot, right? Like he was like about to get shipped out, and they're stuck with him.
We need him, yeah.
Dougie might be better the rest of the season, but I still think I like Heiskanen.
I think John Carlson can do it 1-for-1 of the list, and also I mean Lacombe has a lot of name value, even though I don't necessarily think. Yeah, they really do.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't realize is that he used to be a forward. So.
No wonder people love him. Yeah. He's on Team USA ahead of Lane Hudson. I don't know how that makes any sense, but we don't have to go into that.
They pretty much said we already have a short over point per game defenseman, so we don't need to.
It's crazy logic. But yeah, Hamilton's a good addition to this list to get it done 1-for-1. I agree. I don't think the other ones can. Look, Heiskanen is someone who, when he was a sell high, part of the idea there is that we don't necessarily believe in him long term. The Harley situation was also a question mark. But now I can firmly believe that he'll be, 0.75 to 0.8 points per game rest of the season, which is pretty decent. His blocks are always good, and he should cement himself on the power play. Yeah. So yeah, it's a great recommendation. I don't know how much of a plus I would add to Theodore, Faber, and Dunn, but I think if you add in someone not too hot but also reasonable, it could be a really good return.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, who do you got for us?
All right, I'm actually really excited to talk about this player. I don't know why, but I actually love him so much. In my mind, this is what I drafted Josh Norris to be. Except Josh Norris is on IR, and this guy is, I feel like, about to pop off even more. But I'm about to talk about Adam Fantilli of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Guys, I think this season I'm turning into like the biggest Columbus fan. Not only do I have their goalie,
but also hater.
Yeah, well, it's true. I hated of one player, Matthew Olivier. But listen, we go way back. There's beef, there's drama, there's tension.
There's a history there for sure.
There's a big history, but I'm hoping to have a future with Adam Fantilli, because I think he's a phenomenal player. Guys, his backcats, I don't know if you've been looking at it. Like, we talk about backcats, we talk about shots, hits, blocks, throw faceoff wins in there for the leagues that have faceoff wins. But over the last month, he's at 3 shots a game, 8 faceoff wins, 2.3 hits, and 0.8 blocks. Like, this is
crazy.
Elite category coverage from a pure C. He's only averaging 0.5 points per game over the last month. The power play is still solid. He's at 0.2 power play points over the last month, but that's his monthly production. The points are significantly worse than the Banger Cats, and the points have been even worse as of late. No points over the last week, 0.4 over the last 2 weeks. With the new coach, his role is even more important. I think we saw Monahan take a step back after Bonus came in, and I think Fantilli has had more responsibility. He's playing 20 minutes a night more consistently. Like, we had games before in the past where he's playing like 21, 22, but usually around 18. I think he's consistently playing over 20 minutes a night right now. I think he's the future of this team. He's cemented line 1. He's playing with Marchenko. I think there's way better days ahead. Marchman just came back. I think there's an influx of talent in the top 6. I think the Bonus honeymoon phase, listen, we're going to ride it and hopefully it sticks. But I think there's a really high ceiling for Adam Fantilli, and I want to get in right now, because if you play in a league where, you're able to trade somebody that's been hotter for points, and then Fantilli matches the points, and you're getting the banger cats from it. I think it's a no brainer, honestly. Like I've been trying to acquire him. It hasn't been going well, but I've been trying to get a good deal on it. So we'll see if something can happen. But in a lot of leagues, I think he's easily acquirable because his percentage is not even that high. Like he's only rostered in 47% of Yahoo leagues. Like in my opinion, it should be like 60 plus. But I understand not every league is deep. But I think when he hits his stride, everybody's gonna want him on their team. And I'm trying to get in right now. If you can trade guys like, I mean, this might be a hot take. Honestly, I had trouble with evaluating what the level of player to send because I think I value him more than most people value him. But if you can send Ryan O'Reilly, who has been insane, right? Like he's been one of the best fantasy PRCs over the last 2 months, it feels like. So it feels risky to give him for Fantilli. You could get Fantilli plus, and I would absolutely try to do that. Brock Nelson, I feel like it's perfect. Like Jakey just talked about, the 2-week update. His production has got cut in half over the last 2 weeks. I still think he's done enough that you could send him for Fantilli 1-for-1 and get that done, and I would do that. I think Slav might be a tricky one, but Slav has been super hot. We talked about him being a sell high. I think his points come down a little bit. I think the points ceiling for both of those guys is similar, but look at Fantilli's backcats compared to Slav. I think it's a no-brainer. And I think Zuccarello, he's been really hot as of late. The resurgence of this Minnesota power play and the top six just going off. I think this is a guy that you could sell. Like he's been a streamer in a lot of teams. You're able to sell him for a Adam Fantilli. I think it's a no-brainer. Tried to give some better guys, some worse guys, but what do you think?
Yeah. So yeah, you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
So I was just gonna say, like,
no, you hang
this
up.
feels hilarious. This to me is very similar to like the Forsberg one that you had referenced, Josh, where I was saying
Yeah,
that
but
you'd
Forsberg
really
was a
happy
second
with-
round pick.
Yeah, but Fantilli was a third overall pick, and they didn't do this to have him be like a shots hits decent forward. So
Mhm.
the fact that he's doing this with the actual points upside of being able to be truly elite, and we've seen him go through stretches. He's young; it's going to come in streaks. But the fact that his floor now is a banger league stud with the shot hit combo and in faceoffs it's just even better makes this an incredible buy low opportunity. I think he could be one of those, if you make the swap or pick him up, if you're not in a deep league, he could be like a league winner
Mhm.
in bangers leagues. It's really amazing to see. I also think the surrounding cast, if he does play with Marchenko, who could be a point per game player, that's just more reason to believe that he'll be amazing. And finally, for your targets, I don't want to dive too far into it, but to focus on Slav and Zuccarello, look, if I have Fantilli and someone offers me these guys, like, I don't think I'm taking it, to be honest.
Really?
But I definitely don't think it's insulting. Like, and I think it's worthwhile, and I think a lot of people will go for it. I'm even thinking I have Slav right now of just like sending that offer.
I think if you send Slav
Like-
for Fantilli, you could get done 1-for-1.
I actually think
Yeah.
it could get done too, and I think I do
just said you
believe in
didn't.
Slav's points. Sorry,
You just said you didn't.
I said if I had Fantilli and someone offered me Slav, I wouldn't trade him.
Okay. So
Not
you
if I had
so you think
Slav and someone offered me Fantilli. So I'm saying,
Okay,
like, as the
okay.
Fantilli owner, I think that especially in a faceoff wins league, he's almost too valuable that like I wouldn't want to get rid of him. But
Okay.
I think like you look at the own discrepancy, you look at like how good Slav
Mhm.
has been for points. I really like that swap a lot. Zuccarello may be underpaying a bit because they, especially if you look, he's only 25%
Yeah.
owned. So I don't know if that one can get it done. And Nelson and O'Reilly, I think those ones are slam dunks, and absolutely you can make it. And if of course those O'Reilly particularly, you could add the plus to Fantilli, and I think it's possible.
Yeah, so I love the buy low. I'm a big fan of Fantilli. I didn't realize his backouts were that nuts. I knew
Yeah.
I seen the shots were really nice and the face-off wins were nice. I didn't realize he had been hitting like that. So that's and I also believe in the points upside. So
Mhm.
all of that I agree with. For the targets, Zuccarello's a slam dunk. I don't think it. I mean, actually, it could get done if he keeps up the points and and Fantilli has another like slow week. I think it could get done, but that's the least likely and the
Yeah, you do
most
Zuccarello plus.
yeah, that's the most no-brainer for me. Like, I'm absolutely taking Fantilli over Zook. The other ones are tough, actually, because, like, for, like, looking at the centers, right, O'Reilly and Nelson, like, they've been doing so well.
Mhm.
I'm not trading them unless I can get Fantilli plus. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think Fantilli's better rest of the season, but I just think you're not making the most of your value. Like, I think if you're trading O'Reilly or Nelson,
you can aim higher, for
you can
sure.
aim higher.
Yep.
So that's kind of my view on those, and I kind of view Slav the same way. Like, I don't even know which one I would rather rest this season. Maybe I'm out of touch with Slav, but from like I like I said, I haven't been like following every single player's stats as much as I normally do the past couple days. But Slav's been insane, right? And he's like supposed to be insane. I know his backcats haven't been there this year, but like I don't see why you guys are so like Fantilli slam dunk over Slav. To me, that's a real thinker. And with how Slav's doing, I think if you're doing that, you should definitely get Fantilli plus.
Yeah, I think if you sent that, you'd get it. Like 100%.
I think anyone who has Fantilli, if someone offers them Slav 1-for-1, they accept Slav in a second.
Yeah, I think
the peripheral categories are crazy to me. That's why I think it's such a good offer. And look, I mean, we've seen Slav go through stretches in the past, you know.
Absolutely, and Slav is a sell high. Like there's not a doubt there. I think maybe it's just kind of the same thing with O'Reilly and Nelson, where they're also sell highs, but like I just think you could get more for them.
Right.
Last season, Fantilli was at 0.66 points per game, and he did not have the role that he had this season. This year, on the season, he's at 0.6. He also did not have the role the whole year, but he has a decent body of work that I think the points threshold should be higher. I think his floor is like 0.66, like 0.7. I think that's his floor. And I think he has in his range of outcomes for rest of the season to average, I think, 0.75, 0.8 points per game. And with the back categories like attached to that, I think he's be a phenomenal player. So
yeah, anything those back cats are like sustainable. Like the shots, I'm not worried about. The face-off wins, I'm not worried about. You think the hits, you don't think that's a flash in the pan? You think that's like part of his game?
Because he was hitting last season. So last season it was hovering around 1.5. This season he's ticked more up. And the shots as well. Last season the shots were like at 2.2. I can see him ending around 2.73. And I think the difference maker there to make up the increased production is the time on ice. He's on the ice for 20 plus minutes a night. He's going to be doing more of the category coverage, right? So I think those are pretty consistent. We saw it like last year that it was an element to his game. It's just the proportions are higher because the time on ice is higher.
Absolutely. No, I love it. I just think like I said with those targets, I think you can get Fantilli plus. And if you could do, we love talking about this. You do that 2-for-2 where you give like O'Reilly plus a guy for Fantilli, and then the other guy you get is like an upgrade on your second guy. And in your mind, you're like, I actually already prefer Fantilli, but I'm also getting an upgrade elsewhere. Yeah. That's kind of how I would use these kind of targets.
It's tough because in a face-off wins league, I also think that these it's harder to trade guys that offer face-off wins when you're not giving one back. So it like limits the way you're able to do trades unless the other team has like an abundance and they're okay getting rid of some. But it's tough because that's why it's been hard for me to get a deal done, because I don't want to overpay. I don't think I should overpay, but I do really believe in the player and I really want him. So I'm fighting like the desperateness of like me wanting to get him before he blows up, and also like not overpaying and just buying somebody that's at his ceiling.
Yeah, no, that's super fair. I mean, honestly, I was going to start going to look at Fantilli offers also, so we'll see if any of us can get something done. But I mean, also, it's a huge red flag to the owner, right? If he starts getting offers from like all of us for Fantilli, he's going to be like, maybe I should hold on to this guy.
I just sent one that I actually think is really fair.
What did you send?
One that I think is really fair. It's a 3-for-3. I don't know if I'm just getting caught up in the hype, but
the hype of me just talking about it right now and you setting an offer right now.
Exactly. Forsberg,
he just rejected my offer.
So. Wow, that's exactly.
He saw Jakey's offer come in and he saw his other offer and he just rejected mine. So all right.
Forsberg, Slav, Sergachev for Fantilli, Wilson, Radish.
Forsberg? Wait, Jake, you might be getting cooked there.
No, I don't think so.
Forsberg, Slav, and who?
Sergachev.
Okay.
Sergachev for Wilson, Tom Wilson, Fantilli,
Tom Wilson.
and Radish.
That's tough. I think I'm taking Forsberg over Wilson.
He rejected it anyways, but I don't think it's unfair.
I'm taking Forsberg over Wilson. I'm taking like Slav over Fantilli, but like at least like in terms of like trade perception. And that's crazy that he rejected that. That's a really good offer. Okay, I'm not even going to bother sending an offer if that gets rejected. I was not going to send anywhere near that good.
My offer was not anything near that either.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, Jakey, why don't you take us to yours, and then you can get back to sending trades.
All right. So quick disclaimer on this one. He was also a buy low in week 1, but I think that enough time has passed that we could definitely talk about him again.
Statute of limitations.
Like crazy. There's literally like 4 weeks left in the regular season.
Imagine owning a chump who's on the buy low episode twice in one season. Like imagine being the loser who drafted this guy.
Yeah, it'd be rough out there.
Yeah, that's me.
Of the Los Angeles Kings, we have Darcy Kuemper. So, my esteemed co-host Josh over here has made a resolution to not be so down on his luck in the group chat with me and Kevin, but there's been a mention here and there about Mr. Kuemper over over the last little bit.
If you
And
pulled
one
receipts,
thing
I'm going to lose my mind.
no. One thing I've learned is that when Josh gets super sorrowful about his players, you know the turnaround is coming soon. All kidding aside, Kuemper has been really not it over the last month, and especially since coming back from injury. In 2026, he's played 9 games, and only 2 of them he's gotten over a 90 save percentage. Last year, for comparison purposes, he finished with a 9.21 and was one of the best fantasy goalies to own. This year, things have been rocky for sure, but despite this brutal stretch on the season, he's still at a 904. So, between a 904 and, consistently being under a 90 over the last few weeks, you could definitely see that there's an uptick over there, and it's a clear buy low. Then you add on the fact that Kopitar's been injured for the last 2 weeks and may be coming back very soon over their upcoming road trip. They stand 6th in the Pacific, but they're only 2 points away from 3rd place. So clearly this is a turnaround point for the Kings and Kuemper. Yeah, it's like you got the top 3 teams, and then other than that, it's like really wide open for the, for the 4th place over there. And last but definitely not least, and this is totally statistically proven, but Corey Perry's on this team, meaning that they're definitely going to be making the playoffs and losing in the finals. So if everything I said before wasn't convincing enough, the last part should definitely do the trick, and there should be a turnaround for Kuemper and this team in the very near future. I think these are very reasonable recommendations. So if I had any of these guys, I'm trading them for Kuemper, and I really think it could get done. John Gibson, Jeremy Swayman, Joseph Woll, and Karel Vejmelka.
I'll jump in as the resident Kuemper owner and holder all season to say, first of all, I absolutely hope you're right, because this has been a brutal stretch. And look, it's a good buy low when even like I'm panicking, not panicking, but even I'm like, man, should I be like trying to get rid of him, whatever? But no, everything the reason I haven't been like selling low on him is because I agree with everything you're saying. There's no reason for, him to be as bad as he's been. I think also you could kind of see it exactly with his injury, right? He was playing really well before he got injured, and then he comes back and has been horrible. So I think maybe I was gonna say maybe the Olympic break will help him, but he's not getting a break. He's he's playing for Team Canada, but maybe he'll back up and he gets a little to relax a bit, But no. So I'm hoping and believe in the turnaround for Kuemper. And in terms of your targets, I think they're all amazing targets. I think that they're the perfect level of performing well. They're not some waiver pickup that you're trying to trick your opponent into grabbing. They're guys who actually have some pull in a trade and are playing well, and I would rather have Kuemper. So it's kind of the perfect targets for all of them.
Yeah. Thank you.
I also like it a lot. I think Kuemper rest of season, people do not like Kuemper. I'm seeing it in the Discord a lot. People are asking if they can drop him. People are asking if they can trade him for
I am
a
people.
less level. Yeah. So it's tough because I feel like we're here and we're telling people don't panic. He's still, because in my mind Kuemper has top 5 rest of season upside. He's on a team that is strong defensively, that should be winning more games than they're losing, and he's a good goalie in himself. He just has squishiness to him, which is not always fun. But I definitely think that all of these deals that you mentioned, all these guys, I would definitely trade for Kuemper, and I'd be really happy about it.
Yeah, I think it could get done. I want to actually, this is a fun one. Kevin, would you trade Jet Greaves for Kuemper?
Yeah, come on.
Well, I said top 5, but those other 4 spots.
Yeah.
No, I probably should.
No-brainer?
I probably should.
Look,
that's a fun one.
He would definitely
just gotta shut up.
1,000,000%. Yeah, you 1,000,000% trade Jet Greaves, and I would toss that in that list though. I think that could possibly get done. I mean, it's tough because people have seen that Elvis started a couple of games recently, so they might be wary
That's why
of
I
that.
didn't include him.
Yeah, but then Wedgwood didn't start 3 games in a row, and he came back and so.
No, I mean I don't think it's an issue. I think his trade value may
Yeah.
be affected by that. But yeah, no, you should absolutely trade Greaves for Kemper if you have the chance, despite Kevin's bias of who's on his team. And this is like
Yes.
anti-bias from my part because I've had the displeasure of having Kemper for this long, but I would not do that trade. Okay, let's go to our sell highs. I'm excited for mine because I love grabbing sell highs from Kevin's team because it
Yay.
pisses him off. So it's a good thing if you have a sell high on your team. It means your team's been doing well, so you should be happy.
Yeah,
My
but
guys
you're
are all
saying
buy
the team's
lows.
gonna get worse.
That's true. But it's not necessarily get worse. It's more like I guess a little get worse, but you just have the opportunity here to do something big. So my sell high for this week is Artemi Panarin of the New York Rangers for now. He's over the past month averaging 1.5 points per game, 0.75 power play points, and 3 shots on goal. On the season, he's at 1.12 points per game, 0.34 power play points, and 3 shots, which is almost identical to his stats from last year. So his season stats this year are almost identical to season stats last year. I've seen enough that I think that's around where he should end up in terms of like 1.15 points per game, 0.35 power play points, 3 shots, which obviously is someone you're super happy to have. But when you have the chance to tier up with how he's been doing, you got to take it. His power play point pace is completely unsustainable and should drop by at least 0.3 power play points. And he's almost guaranteed to get traded, which means you're losing his elite playoff schedule and you don't know where he's going to end up. No matter where he ends up, he can't possibly do better than he's been doing now. Like he can maintain his like normal levels, but he's not going to do better than 1.5 and 0.75. I can tell you that.
I hope so.
I'd bet
hope he
Kevin's
can.
life on it,
Whoa.
So yeah, he's not going to do better than he's been doing. At best, he can do the same. And there are definitely some destinations that can hurt his value significantly, like Carolina. So now is a great time to trade him and not have to worry about it. Get the guaranteed guy instead of having to worry about the variable guy, especially when the variable could only be downwards. So some targets I'm looking at: Cale Makar. He's been under a point per game over the past month, and with how Panarin's been doing, I think it's attainable in a lot of leagues. Mikko Rantanen. The coach just said he lost a bunch of weight because he's sick. So, he's been kind of out. If it's on a team who's struggling to make the playoffs, they're going to want the guy who's performing now. So that's definitely a good one. Brady Tkachuk. He's always solid for bangers, obviously, but the points aren't necessarily there. And I think we're at a point where Panarin's points are just high. I mean, look, they're the 0.93, whatever. Like that's way more than you're super happy with that as a Tkachuk owner. But I think the points difference between what Panarin's been doing and what Tkachuk is doing is enough that you can bridge that gap. And then I think you can get Connor Bedard plus right now. I think you can get Jack Hughes plus right now. So I think these are all great targets.
So I love this as a sell high for the idea that he's just performing super duper well, and like this is probably the pinnacle of sell him, and if you can't, then he'll still be an incredible asset on your team. As outside looking in, Kevin has Panarin, so I definitely want him to take the lead on this one. But I just want to say that from my perspective, Makar, Rantanen, Tkachuk for sure. And then Bedard, I want to take the plus out of the equation. Bedard and Hughes, I think I'm taking Hughes 1-for-1. I don't think I'm taking Bedard. I really think you need the plus there. So try the plus for Hughes, both, but I would still settle for the one. And last but not least, Kevin, who you have Brady.
Yes.
So that's kind of a fun one. So who are you actually like willing to trade Panarin for on this list?
I think the only one that's out of reach is Brady, in my opinion. Because if you want Brady, it's because you're in a bangers league, and if you're in a bangers league, I think Brady is just you're not bridging the gap. I think Brady's at over a point per game over the last 2 weeks, and he's hovering around a point per game on the season, and he's got the crazy shots hits always. So I think that's you need something to bridge the gap because the gap in points doesn't make up the rest.
Panarin's shots are also great. Like they're not that far off from Brady, so it's really just the hits. And like I think the like points and power play points difference is high enough that that it could get done.
I just think in a bangers league, Brady is too all encompassing that he was probably a first round pick as well. Panarin was drafted after, so and he's doing better than he did last season. So I think personally he's too valuable that I would not accept that. I need Panarin plus. But if you can get it done in a bangers league, I'd be thrilled. I think all the other ones are very realistic. I have not tried to trade for Cale Makar. I have tried to trade for the other guys. But with Rantanen, it's kind of close though. Honestly, I feel like maybe I'm just I don't know if I'm too low on Rantanen, but he started the season super hot. I think it's just with the ambiguity of the trade, you probably do that, but you're probably just getting what Panarin's doing right now, or like what he's doing on the season type of thing. Because I do think Panarin shoots more than Rantanen. So
yeah, the shots for sure. Rantanen randomly is a goat at Pims though. If you're
yeah, but that was like 3 games in like 2 weeks, and that was it pretty much. Like he's been costing on those.
I feel like he's also been pimming other than that insane week that was against me. I feel like he's just getting a bunch of like minor penalties. He keeps crashing into goalies and stuff. Like I feel like he's just pimming a lot this year.
Either
that.
Yeah, if your league has that. But either way, I do love the Panarin trade. Like we talked about Zib last week being a sell high because we don't know who's going to be on this Rangers team, who's getting traded, where they're getting traded. So ambiguity increases risk. Risk means values fluctuate. So you don't really know what you're going to get. And I think right now Panarin's been so hot that if you can cash in for even a lateral move in a safer place, then you do that. And I think all these names are perfect for that.
Yeah, but by no means though, like, is it the end of the world if you can't? I think right now you can trade him for these guys, and if he does get traded somewhere else, the targets become more like a Stützle, who I think is a tier below the ones that you mentioned, or a Kyle Connor, right around sort of where Panarin got picked. Actually, like that's where he
I just think
he
that
belongs, but now he's playing mid round 1.
Yeah,
caliber.
I just think with how he's been doing, there's no one out of reach. Like, I mean, in 1-for-1 there are obviously, but I think if you toss his name in there with, sometimes you have to throw in a plus, but like I think him plus, not necessarily the biggest plus, can get you pretty much any player in the league with how he's been playing. That's how I feel.
So Batherson and Panarin for McDavid.
Yeah, look, it's McDavid. So like, I mean, I wouldn't because I don't want to like deconsolidate and all that.
Playoff boost for you.
But that is a big playoff
2 games
boost,
in a row without McDavid getting a point.
I know.
It's
I think you could send that.
If we project his last 2 game pace over the season, he's never getting a point.
Never getting a point again. You guys laugh about that, but that's how my mind works. Like that happens to me, and I'm like, McDavid's never getting a point again and again. My team is screwed. Like I've traded away my entire team for these like 2 players, and they have done nothing this week. Oh man,
I still love how Batherson's always the perfect addition. It's so funny.
100%.
So funny. All right, let's do Kevin.
All right, Kevin, what do you got?
All right, I am really excited to talk about this player because not only is he on a team with a bad playoff schedule that I'm trying to move off of, but he's also been insanely productive. And he goes through stretches like this. Early season, he was a league winner. Then he was a drop. Now he's a guy that you should have on your roster and sell. I'm talking about Nick Schmaltz of the Utah Mammoth. Over the last month, Nick Schmaltz is averaging 1.27 points per game. 0.27 power play points, almost 3 shots a game, and he's averaging 9 face-off wins a game. This is a right-wing eligible player. He has fully taken over the Logan Cooley spot, and he's thriving with it right now. He's getting a lot of ice time. He's consistently averaging 19 to 20 minutes a night. I think right now, Utah's lines are working. We're seeing guys like Jack McBain and Dylan Gunther on line 3 succeed, and I think Nick Schmaltz right now is playing with Clayton Keller, and they're doing crazy work. And Nick Schmaltz is a guy that early season 2, I think he had a stretch where he was like 1.5 points per game, and people were like, he's the pickup of the season, and that lasted for like 3-4 weeks, and then he like went zeros for a month, and we were like, we still have
we mentioned Schmaltz earlier this season? Is he a Cinderella story?
Probably in the top 5, first 5 weeks or something. Like, it feels inevitable.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was ever a buy low. I think
he was a sell high earlier.
Yeah. He's always just a sell high.
Maybe not.
Because nobody wants to buy him when he's low.
Yeah.
But either way, and I also have playoffs in mind. If your fantasy championship is in week 23 and your playoffs are week 21 to 23, like you should be right now trying to move off of your Utah Mammoth players and either get a lateral move or tier up. And I'm always trying to tier up if I can because they have 2 games in the championship, and you could definitely get a guy that's better with a 3 or 4 game schedule in that week. So right now I think is the prime opportunity to trade Nick Schmaltz. This does not mean that in 2 weeks when we're talking about it, he completely falls off. This just means now is the time to capitalize on a guy that is not playoff optimized, is playing over his expected production, and when Logan Cooley comes back, it will significantly affect his value negatively, right? That's not in the immediate future, but after the Olympic break, it's going to be a dicey situation. And I'm trying to cash in right now, especially with the production he's doing. Like almost 1.3 points per game is nuts, and he has the deployment and the body of work to be able to capitalize on that, in my opinion. So if you can get a guy like Drake Batherson, I would love that. If you can get Jesper Bratt. You guys are going to hate me. We keep talking about Jesper Bratt. He is still a buy low, guys. I know it's hard to believe he's been so bad for so long. I still believe if he doesn't end up turning it around at all, listen, we'll take accountability when that happens. But right now, I still think you need to buy low. I think Connor Bedard was in reach. Like he got injured. His value was a little dicey right before he came back. He's not popping like he was before. I think in a package, most definitely you can get Connor Bedard. Matt Boldy, as we speak, he has yet to come back from injury. It's right around the corner. So you might be listening to this. He might have played his first game. I still think Matt Boldy is within reach. You're not getting the craziest playoff bump, but I think you're getting a crazy bump in value. And I think in a package, you could absolutely do that as well with Nick Schmaltz.
So I love this as a recommendation. He's notoriously streaky, and he's not a bad player by any means, but he ends up hovering, in the 0.9 points per game, and those come in like 10 games of insanity, and then just falling off the face of the earth. And that's a real pain in the behind for fantasy. And I'm sure Schmaltz
it's a pain in the Daniil boot.
Yes.
Hilarious. So as far as your targets go, Batherson and Bratt for sure attainable. I think you can do that. Bedard, I just think the owner's going to be too hyped up on what he did at the beginning of the year that they're not going to be willing to trade.
Very fair.
And then Boldy, I just think that the tier break may be too significant.
You think I'm
because
trying to aim
Boldy
too
was like
high?
Yeah, I think you're aiming a bit too high with Boldy.
But what if
Bedard,
it's a package? Like what if you're doing? I'm trying to think, but like
Batherson,
Schmaltz and Batherson.
No. Honestly, I think that'd be too much.
maybe
Nah, I would take
definitely
Boldy
tough.
easily.
because
What about like Ricard Raquel and Schmaltz for a Boldy?
I would take Boldy for sure.
But I think that's
Yeah.
more feasible, right?
I don't know. I'm kind of with I'm with both of you on this one. I'm with Kevin on the fact that Nick Schmaltz is a huge sell high. Love everything he said about that. In terms of the target, and I'm with Jakey in terms of his target analysis. I think Batherson and Bratt both attainable. Bratt, this would be a slam dunk 1-for-1.
Mhm.
I think we're all in agreement. It's not just Kevin, putting his name on the line here. We all think Bratt's a bounce back,
I'm
even
putting
though
my life
it's
on the
been-
line.
Nobody asked him to, by the way, but he's putting his life on the line. Yeah, so I think those are great ones. I think there's no way anyone trades Bedard or Boldy for Nick Schmaltz. I don't even think that, like, I think you have to
you'd
give
be
a
surprised.
significant plus to get it done. I don't know. I think Boldy's like,
No, but
like, I know
obviously
he's,
I
like,
prefaced it. This is not 1-for-1, like in a package, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to use Schmaltz's value right now
But I
to
don't
tier up
think-
to a guy of that level.
I don't think Schmaltz plus like a lesser plus is enough to get this done. Look, if it
Okay.
is, then like
I'm trying to
we
be
say,
realistic.
a
I'm trying to
lot
be,
of times people do pull off trades that were like, I don't know how you pulled that off, right?
Yeah.
So I think that can get like that. It happens, but I just don't see any way that you can get. I think it's a tier break, like Jakey said. Bedard and Boldy are just like we were talking earlier this season before Bedard's injury that he was going to be like a first round pick next year. He was at like 1.4 points per game.
Yeah.
Boldy too should be like a top 3 round pick with like how he usually does. Especially he's going to bounce. He's going to come back and he's going to be on that Minnesota power play. That's just insane.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it happening with those ones. I think you have to give a pretty significant plus. But I love the sell high. And if you can make it work, then do it because it would be sick.
Can I give you some other names? You tell me yay or nay. Like if it's realistic in your
Yeah.
mind, like Nico
Yeah.
Hischier.
I think you can do that, and I would do it.
Yeah. Okay. What about Kempe?
I think that can get done,
Bo Horvat?
and I would do it. Horvat's tough because he just came back from injury, but I would take Horvat over Schmaltz if you can, and I think it could get done.
Okay. See, these are other names that I was debating
I
between.
like those better. I think they're more realistic.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just Bedard's got the name value, and Boldy
Cole
was just
Caulfield.
on like an absolute tear.
I mean,
I
I don't know if you can get Caulfield for Schmaltz, but if you can,
I
I,
think
definitely
you
prefer
can.
Caulfield. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think you can. Not from a Habs fan, but in general.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Yeah.
All right, JK, why don't you take us home country roads?
Yes. So they don't make Cinderella stories than this. I'm going to talk about Ryan O'Reilly. Mans was on our waiver show as the top choice for like a month straight, and then last week he finally cracked the top 40%, so we couldn't mention him anymore. But this last month has been absolutely bananas. What's great for O'Reilly owners is that the production has been consistent. In the 11 games he's played since in January, he has scored in 9 of those 11 games. Truly, if you picked him up, you're probably coasting right now. So I really hope that no one skipped out on our waiver show from weeks 10 to 16, where we kept pleading with our listeners to pick him up. His consistency goes beyond January, and he's really been on fire since December. But just to focus on the most recent insane surge, in his 11 games of 2026 so far, he has 16 points, and 12 of those came in the last 5 games. Now, we all love O'Reilly, but this is not some young prospect going on an insane surge where we're asking ourselves, okay, can this finally be the year? O'Reilly's 34. We have enough of a sample size of him being an excellent addition to teams in real life, a solid fantasy player, disregarding last year, and someone who is a good addition to add depth to your lineup. However, he's never scored a point per game, which he's on pace to do this year. What I really like here is that he does carry a solid amount of name value, so I think you can pique a lot of your league mates' interest if you send him in a trade. And then the last quick point is that the Preds have been doing way better than we all thought this year, but the battle for the wildcard spot is pretty wide open, and I don't think that they're going to have a very strong finish. Regardless, I'm suspecting some negative regression for Ryan O'Reilly, but if the Preds do start falling out of the playoff race and he gets traded, which is tough with the Olympic break, but still worth mentioning, then that's going to be a massive catalyst for a huge drop-off in value, and I don't think there's a non-zero chance that he gets moved at all. I think you may even be able to aim higher than the guys I'm about to mention, but I think that these are reasonable offers, and I'm happy with getting them in return. So for trading O'Reilly, I think you can get back Nico Hischier, Drake Batherson, Zach Hyman, Joel Eriksson-Ek, and Kevin's aforementioned buy low Adam Fantilli.
Yeah,
What do y'all
this
think?
is a great one. I mean, it's true. We pumped him every single week we possibly could. He was our number one, not just mentioned on our waiver wire show. He was the number one for like 6 weeks straight. Somehow just would not crack 40%, and he just kept being point per game. And we were like, when is this going to happen? And so it's funny, we finally can't mention him, and Jakey's like, no, but we got to find a way.
Yeah.
He's like,
exactly.
it's like how the turnip from earlier on this season, you know, like just found like every episode found a way to like mention him. So no, this is a fantastic sell high. Look, I think it's like Kevin mentioned earlier also, I don't remember if that was this episode or the waiver episode. I think it was the waiver episode. But Kevin mentioned that like we do have to probably readjust our expectations of Nashville. I don't think they're as much of a dumpster fire as we all initially thought they were going to go back to immediately. That being said, I don't think they're as good as they've been doing either. I don't think any of us think that. So let's say somewhere in the middle. So no, I fully agree with everything you said. In terms of the targets, Hischier I love, definitely attainable, and I would take him. Batherson I love, I would take him. I think it's attainable. Same with Hyman. Same with Eriksson-Ek. Fantilli, again, this is like a bit more on what Kevin was saying. I think you could get Fantilli plus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you should, because I definitely like Fantilli as an acquisition.
Yeah.
So again, another 5 stars for Jakey. No issues on my end.
No issues on my end either, Jakey.
Nice. We've come a long way.
Yeah, seriously. It was a rough stretch there for a bit, but
yeah, that's it. I think, you know, with the Fantilli one, it's a really great buy low recommendation. I know you could get plus. I'm certain of it. But if the manager says no, I'm absolutely not doing that. 1-for-1 is the best. I still think I take that return. Just getting Fantilli back. You know, you want to aim higher.
I mean, you're definitely getting a boost in the bangers. That's absolutely for sure. It's the points difference of what they're both going to be doing rest of the season worth that gap. Well, there's no way Ryan O'Reilly. I know. There's just no way O'Reilly keeps up this pace. And even if we do reevaluate Nashville as a whole and think like, yeah, maybe their guys are not just like going to get straight zeros everywhere, right? I don't think they're going to be doing this. No, so I think if anything, the Olympic break might hinder them because it slows down their momentum and you know, they're going to start from scratch and maybe we get close to the trade deadline and then teams start inquiring like, listen, like, do you guys think you're winning the Stanley Cup this year? Do you guys think you're set up for the future? No. Yeah. Let us get a Ryan O'Reilly or a Steven Stamkos from your team, right? And if that happens, these guys definitely take a hit in value for what they're doing right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
love
just
it.
want to say that this is probably, one of the most consequential buy low sell highs, because you got the Olympics in 2 weeks basically, and then like not long after that is the trade deadline. So a lot of these, we mentioned Panarin, we mentioned O'Reilly. These are guys on teams that should have a lot of question marks coming up. So I think like the blanket statement is that they're both sell highs in their own right, and then if they get moved, it's going to be even more so.
way more worried
And
about Ryan O'Reilly than Panarin after getting moved.
Yeah.
Like Panarin could still be
Absolutely.
doing what he's
yeah.
doing. Or Ryan O'Reilly
Yeah.
he could completely fall
No,
off.
Panarin could go to like a 1.2 and like, which is, or 1.1, 1.2. You're not bummed with that at all.
No.
But O'Reilly, it could be like a 0.5 points per game. He could literally like,
Yeah.
Yeah. The power play points
one-fifth
could
his
disappear
value.
if he goes
Yeah.
somewhere that he's not power
Yeah.
play one, which is a lot of places. So no, definitely fully agree on that one.
Exactly. No buying team is going to want him to be line 1C, power play 1, and then
That's
like,
it.
doing this. And he is an amazing depth player in real life. Like that's like what
Yeah.
he's like, that's what he's amazing for. So
He's a middle six center
I actually,
on most other teams.
yeah, and like the best middle six center you can have, but still a middle six center. So this is just, there's no way this continues.
Yeah.
All right. I love this. Let's see. It's 2-week update. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. See what happens.
Thank you to everybody for listening to our week 17 buy low, sell high episode. If you enjoyed, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. Daily Motion. Let's not forget. And be sure to subscribe on YouTube and give this video a like.
Yes, please.
Josh
Yeah.
usually does the thumbs up. I was waiting. Okay, that's okay.
I was just trying to show off my sweater. That's all.
Nice.
My
That's
Montreal
a pretty
Canadiens
sick Habs sweater.
vintage sweater.
I like
It's pretty
Jakey's
sick.
shirt better, but that's
Yeah, you can't beat banger management merch for sure.
That's it. And be sure to join the Discord community. All right, Ernie, take it away.
Bow, banger management fantasy hockey podcast. Woo, woo, woo.
Why? What did I do this time?
Nice.